Alright, I'm going to start my morning blog with a short story from ancient Scotland. There was a boy a long time ago. His name was Edward, and he wasn't royalty, but he was a part of the castle. And anyways, he would go around the castle and say how he seen this fairy mount. And there was a lot of tales of fairies back then. So he would go by the fairy mount and he would pee on the fairy mount every day. And just tell the castle of warning them of the fairies. And anyways, one day the fairies got tired of it. So they started visiting him in his room. And they told him that they didn't like that he was peeing on the fairy mount. So he mocked them. And they warned him. They said that there would be bad things coming if he kept disrespecting the fairies. So anyways, he kept doing it. It wasn't, and the fairies got angrier. The second fairy came to visit him at his house and personally told him that he needed to stop, in probably Gaelic terms. And he heeded that warning. So the third fairy said the dark one was coming if he didn't stop. So he was a young person that didn't care, and literally was laughing and decided, the next day to go ahead and pee on it for a third time. And then time went past. Nothing was said. Nothing was done. Then, about a month later, it had ended up that things was disappearing in his room, and people would blame him for it. And then it got to the point where he was known as the town thief, because everywhere he went, things would be disappearing. And he was at his lowest. And then, back then, if you stole something, it was a big deal, because people didn't have much back then. They would just take the food from the house and all kinds of things. And anyways, the last fairy, he ended up being exiled and everything. And then the last fairy, literally, the other fairy that came, he seen the darkest fairy there was to have, and he begged the fairy and said he was sorry. And then the fairy told him, "You didn't heed the first 3 warnings." So he was forever exiled from his clan, and he lived his life as a peasant, and that's about it. So I guess with this story you learn you got to respect the fairies, because they can do stuff to you. But I hope everybody enjoys the story. We're on our morning walk. I figured instead of sitting here and wondering, Chong, no, what I'm going to say, I might as well just literally tell a story every morning or afternoon when I go on these blogs and make it a little more interesting. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. And I hope everybody's enjoying the spooky stories. I try not to keep them too spooky. I really do. These blogs I try to keep fun and like goosebumps without all the violence. Just some fun, spooky campfire stories. So, I'm going to end this, and when we do our next blog, I'll say another short story. And I hope everybody has a great day.